Always remain silent in these 9 situations. A Stoic perspective. In the philosophy of Stoicism, silence is not merely the absence of speech. It is a profound and deliberate choice that reflects wisdom, self-control, and inner peace. The Stoics believed that words, when used carelessly or impulsively, could lead to unnecessary conflict, misunderstandings, and emotional turmoil. By choosing silence in specific situations, we align ourselves with the principles of reason, virtue, and tranquility. Silence in this context is not a sign of weakness, but a demonstration of strength and mastery over oneself. Below, we explore 9 situations where silence is not only advisable but essential, as seen through the lens of Stoic philosophy. Each situation is examined in detail, with insights from Stoic thinkers and practical applications for modern life. 1. When you are angry. Anger is a destructive emotion that clouds judgment and leads to irrational behavior. The Stoic philosopher Seneca, in his work On Anger, described anger as a temporary madness that consumes reason and distorts reality. When we speak in the heat of anger, we often say things we later regret, causing harm to ourselves and others. Silence, in this situation, serves as a buffer between the impulse to react and the opportunity to respond thoughtfully. By remaining silent, we give ourselves time to cool down, reflect on the situation, and regain control over our emotions. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, advised, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." This means that when someone wrongs us, the most powerful response is not retaliation, but the demonstration of our own virtue. Silence in the face of anger is a testament to our strength and self-discipline. It prevents the escalation of conflict and allows us to act with integrity rather than being driven by fleeting emotions. In this way, silence becomes a tool for cultivating inner peace and maintaining harmonious relationships. 2. When you are tempted to gossip. Gossip is a trivial and often harmful activity that serves no purpose other than to spread rumors and create division. The Stoics emphasized the importance of focusing on what is within our control and avoiding distractions that do not contribute to our growth or the well-being of others. Gossip, by its very nature, is rooted in judgment and negativity, and it often leads to misunderstandings and broken trust. By choosing silence over gossip, we uphold our integrity and avoid participating in behaviors that undermine our character. Epictetus, in his discourses, reminds us, "If you wish to improve, be content to appear clueless or stupid in extraneous matters." This means that we should prioritize our own moral development over the trivial concerns of others. When we refrain from gossiping, we demonstrate self-respect and a commitment to virtuous living. Silence in this context is a mark of wisdom and a reflection of our dedication to the Stoic ideal of focusing on what truly matters. 3. When you are unsure of the truth. In a world filled with misinformation and half-truths, speaking without certainty can lead to confusion and harm. The Stoics valued truth and rationality above all else, and they believed it was better to remain silent than to spread falsehoods. By withholding judgment until we have all the facts, we demonstrate humility and a commitment to truth. This practice not only protects us from making mistakes, but also earns the trust and respect of others. Socrates, a significant influence on Stoicism, famously said, "I know that I am intelligent because I know that I know nothing." This acknowledgement of our own limitations is a cornerstone of Stoic thought. When we are unsure of the truth, silence allows us to seek clarity and understanding rather than rushing to conclusions. It is a sign of intellectual honesty and a recognition that wisdom begins with the admission of ignorance. In this way, silence becomes a pathway to knowledge and self-improvement. 4. When someone else is speaking. Listening is an act of respect and a way to gain insight into the perspectives of others. The Stoics believe that true communication requires patience and attentiveness, not just the desire to be heard. By remaining silent while others speak, we show that we value their thoughts and are open to learning from them. This practice also helps us avoid interrupting or dominating conversations, which can lead to misunderstandings and resentment. Epictetus taught, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This simple yet profound observation highlights the importance of listening as a means of understanding and connecting with others. When we listen more than we speak, we create space for meaningful dialogue and mutual respect. Silence in this context is not passive, but active, as it requires focus, empathy, and a genuine interest in the perspectives of others. 5. When you are praised. While it is natural to feel pleased when receiving praise, the Stoics cautioned against becoming attached to external validation. Excessive pride or self-congratulation can lead to arrogance and a fragile sense of self-worth. By remaining silent in the face of praise, we maintain humility and focus on our internal virtues rather than external approval. This practice helps us stay grounded and reminds us that our true worth lies in our character, not in the opinions of others. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminded himself, "The applause of the crowd is but the clatter of tongues." This means that external recognition is fleeting and ultimately insignificant compared to the pursuit of virtue. When we remain silent in response to praise, we demonstrate that our sense of self is not dependent on the validation of others. It is a reflection of our commitment to living a life of integrity and inner peace. Silence in this situation is a mark of humility and a rejection of vanity. 6. When you are criticized. Criticism, whether justified or not, can be difficult to accept. However, the Stoics believed that our reactions to external events are within our control, even if the events themselves are not. By remaining silent when criticized, we avoid defensiveness and emotional reactivity. This allows us to assess the criticism objectively and determine whether it holds any value for our growth. It also prevents us from escalating conflicts or engaging in unnecessary arguments. Epictetus advised, "If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said, but answer, 'He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone.'" This perspective encourages us to view criticism as an opportunity for self-reflection rather than a personal attack. Silence in the face of criticism is a sign of emotional resilience and a commitment to self-improvement. It allows us to respond with grace and dignity, even in the face of adversity. 7. When you are in the presence of fools. Engaging in arguments with ignorant or irrational individuals is often futile and draining. The Stoics believed that it is better to conserve our energy and focus on what is within our control, rather than wasting time on pointless debates. By remaining silent in the presence of fools, we protect our peace of mind and avoid being drawn into their chaos. This practice allows us to maintain our composure and focus on our own growth and well-being. 8. When you are tempted to boast. Boasting about our achievements or possessions is a sign of insecurity and a desire for external validation. The Stoics emphasize the importance of humility and focusing on internal virtues rather than external accomplishments. By remaining silent instead of boasting, we demonstrate that our worth is not dependent on the opinions of others. This practice helps us cultivate a sense of self-assurance and inner peace, free from the need for recognition or approval. Seneca wisely noted, "The wise man is content with himself." This means that true fulfillment comes from within, not from external achievements or the admiration of others. When we remain silent in the face of the temptation to boast, we show that we are secure in our own worth and do not need to seek validation from others. Silence in this situation reflects a deep sense of self-assurance and a commitment to living a life of humility and integrity. 9. When silence itself is the best response. There are moments when words are inadequate or unnecessary. The Stoics understood that silence can often convey more than speech, especially in situations where emotions run high or words may cause harm. By choosing silence, we create space for reflection, understanding, and resolution. This practice allows us to respond to challenging situations with wisdom and restraint rather than reacting impulsively. Conclusion: the power of silence in Stoic practice. Silence is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, serving as a tool for self-mastery, emotional regulation, and virtuous living. By remaining silent in these 9 situations, we align ourselves with the Stoic ideals of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Silence allows us to observe, reflect, and act with intention rather than reacting impulsively. It is a reminder that our words have power and that we must use them wisely. As the Stoics taught, true freedom lies in our ability to control our thoughts, emotions, and actions. In a world filled with noise and distraction, silence is a refuge and a source of strength. By embracing it, we cultivate a life of purpose, peace, and virtue.
Focus on yourself, not on others. Look around. What do you see? A world obsessed with comparison, distraction, and meaningless competition. People waste hours scrolling through social media, envying others, and measuring their lives against someone else's highlight reel. And what does that get them? Nothing. You think Marcus Aurelius cared about what some random Roman thought of him? You think Seneca wasted time envying another man's wealth? Hell no. They focused on what truly mattered: themselves, their minds, their purpose. And that's what you need to do. Step 1. Stop comparing. It's making you weak. Comparison is poison. Every time you look at someone else's success and feel envy, you give away your power. Why? Because you're measuring yourself by someone else's standards. Someone has more money than you? So what? Someone is in better shape? Good for them. Someone has a better job, car, or lifestyle? Who cares? A real man doesn't waste time worrying about what others have. He focuses on improving himself. The Stoics understood this. The only thing in your control is you. What happens in another man's life? Not your problem. What others think of you? Not your concern. Want peace? Want power? Then stop comparing. And here's the truth. The more you focus on others, the less you focus on yourself. Every second you spend envying someone else is a second you could have spent improving your own life. Every time you wish you had what they have, you waste energy that could have been used to build something real. If you're always looking sideways, how the hell do you expect to move forward? Step 2. Master your mind. Master your life. Most people let their emotions run wild. They get angry over nothing, jealous over nonsense, and anxious about things they can't control. That's weakness. A real man, he controls his mind. He doesn't let distractions pull him away from his purpose. He doesn't waste energy worrying about other people's opinions. He focuses on his own path and nothing else. Seneca said it best: "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most of your problems exist only in your head, and most of those problems come from worrying about others. Let it go. Focus on what matters. Focus on you, because at the end of the day, who's going to improve your life? Not the people you're watching online, not the ones you envy, only you. Every moment wasted on comparison is a moment stolen from your own progress. Every thought about someone else's success is a thought that could have been used to build your own. You're either spending time improving, or you're wasting time watching. Step 3. Social media is destroying you. Wake up. Let's be real. Social media has turned people into mindless sheep, scrolling for hours, seeing other people's perfect lives, comparing yourself to influencers who fake everything, feeling worse about yourself, chasing validation, wasting time. It's pathetic. And worse, it's designed to make you feel this way. You're not thinking for yourself. You're reacting. You're giving away control. And a man who gives away control isn't a man at all. A Stoic understands this. He doesn't chase likes, followers, or attention. He focuses on building real strength, real discipline, real success. Want to be powerful? Delete the distractions. Stop the mindless scrolling. Live for yourself, not for the approval of strangers. And if you think social media is just entertainment, think again. Every time you scroll, you train your brain to seek dopamine hits instead of real achievement. Every time you compare yourself to someone's highlight reel, you tell yourself you're not enough. Cut it out. Live in the real world. Focus on what actually matters. Step 4. The only competition is you. You forget about what others are doing. Forget about trying to win against them. The only battle that matters is the one inside your own mind. Are you stronger than you were yesterday? Are you more disciplined than last year? Are you closer to your goals than before? If the answer is yes, you're winning. If the answer is no, then fix it. But don't waste time comparing, because at the end of the day, the only person you need to beat is you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." And living means focusing on what you can control. No one else is going to do it for you. No one is coming to save you. No one will magically give you the success you envy in others. You have to take it. You have to work for it. Step 5. Build yourself up. Ignore the noise. People will talk. They'll judge. They'll mock. Let them. They don't pay your bills. They don't walk your path. They don't live your life. Their opinions? Worthless. A real man doesn't care about the noise. He builds himself up. He sharpens his mind. He strengthens his body. He stays focused on his own mission, no matter what. The moment you stop caring about what others think is the moment you become unstoppable. You think great men worried about what others thought? You think warriors stopped to check if their enemies approved? Number. They fought. They built. They conquered. Step 6. The power of solitude. Why you must be comfortable alone. A weak man can't stand being alone. He constantly needs validation, attention, or distractions to keep him from facing himself. A strong man, he thrives in solitude. Solitude gives you clarity. No noise, no outside opinions, just your own thoughts. Solitude builds discipline. No distractions mean you focus on what really matters. Solitude makes you stronger. If you can be alone without feeling empty, you've already won. Seneca once said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. But if no such people exist, be alone." Because the truth is, most people are distractions. And if you can't stand your own company, you have work to do. Step 7. Forget others, build your legacy. What do you want to be remembered for? Chasing approval, trying to impress others, wasting time caring about things outside your control? Or do you want to be remembered as someone who built something real? A man who followed his purpose. A man who focused on self-mastery. A man who didn't waste time on nonsense. At the end of the day, people's opinions fade. What remains? What you built. The Stoics understood this. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. So stop debating, stop overthinking, and start acting. Final warning: choose power or stay weak. This is your test. Will you keep wasting time, chasing approval, and comparing yourself to others? Or will you take control, focus on yourself, and rise above the nonsense? Weak men care too much about others. Strong men focus on themselves. So what's it gonna be? Stay distracted or take control? Your move.
The philosophy of inner freedom. Introduction. Inner freedom is a concept that has been explored by philosophers for centuries, yet it remains as relevant today as it was in the times of the Stoics. In an age where external distractions, societal pressures, and personal anxieties dominate our lives, the pursuit of inner freedom becomes a necessity. But what does it truly mean to be free from within? How can we achieve a state of mind where external circumstances do not dictate our inner peace? This essay explores the Stoic perspective on inner freedom, its practical applications, and how we can cultivate it in our modern lives. The human experience is riddled with moments of distress, uncertainty, and emotional turbulence. Many people believe that freedom is found in the absence of responsibility, in wealth, or in complete control over their environment. However, history and philosophy tell us otherwise. True freedom is an internal state of being, one that is not reliant on external circumstances. A person who achieves inner freedom can navigate the world with confidence and resilience, regardless of external pressures. This state of freedom is not an innate trait, but a skill that can be cultivated through discipline, reflection, and self-awareness. Defining inner freedom. Inner freedom is the ability to remain unaffected by external events and emotions that are beyond our control. It is the state of being independent of external validation, material possessions, and transient emotions. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from mastering one's own mind and reactions, rather than attempting to control the outside world. This idea aligns with Epictetus's famous teaching: it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The modern world often confuses freedom with limitless choice, or the ability to act without restraint. However, this interpretation of freedom can lead to paradoxical outcomes. The more one indulges in unlimited desires, the more one becomes enslaved to those desires. For example, a person who seeks constant validation on social media may feel imprisoned by the need for approval. In contrast, a person who has achieved inner freedom does not derive their self-worth from external praise or material achievements, but rather from their inner sense of purpose and virtue. To understand inner freedom, we must first distinguish between two types of freedom. External freedom. This is the ability to act without external restrictions, such as political or legal constraints. While external freedom is important, it is not sufficient for personal fulfillment. Inner freedom. This is the ability to remain composed and undisturbed regardless of external conditions. Inner freedom allows us to live with peace and purpose, even in the face of adversity. The Stoics, including Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, developed a framework for achieving inner freedom through discipline, reason, and self-reflection. Their philosophy is built upon the following key principles: control and acceptance. Recognizing what is within our control and what is not allows us to focus on our own actions and responses rather than external events. Detachment from external approval. A free person does not depend on praise or criticism from others, but remains steadfast in their values and principles. Mind over emotion. While emotions are natural, we should not be enslaved by them. Rational thinking helps us maintain inner stability. Living in accordance with nature. Accepting life as it is, rather than resisting or complaining, leads to true liberation. Each of these principles is rooted in the idea that external circumstances are unpredictable, but our inner world is within our control. Epictetus, who was born into slavery, famously argued that even a slave could be free if they mastered their own mind. His philosophy teaches us that no matter how constrained our external conditions may be, we always have the power to choose how we respond. Practical steps to cultivate inner freedom. Inner freedom is not just a theoretical ideal. It requires daily practice and effort. Here are some practical steps based on Stoic philosophy. 1. Master your perception. The way we interpret events determines our emotional response. If we view setbacks as opportunities for growth rather than failures, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." 2. Practice voluntary discomfort. Stoics often practiced voluntary discomfort, such as fasting or exposing themselves to cold weather, to build resilience. By willingly facing minor hardships, we develop the strength to remain unshaken when real challenges arise. 3. Meditate on death. Memento mori. Reminding ourselves of the impermanence of life helps us detach from trivial concerns and focus on what truly matters. The awareness of our mortality can be a powerful motivator for embracing inner freedom and living fully in the present. 4. Reduce dependence on external validation. Modern society places immense value on social approval, yet true freedom lies in self-approval. By aligning our actions with our own values rather than seeking external validation, we gain independence from others' opinions. 5. Develop emotional resilience. Instead of suppressing emotions, Stoicism teaches us to acknowledge them and respond with reason. Practicing journaling or reflecting on daily experiences helps cultivate emotional stability and prevents us from being ruled by fleeting feelings. The role of discipline in inner freedom. Discipline is essential for maintaining inner freedom. Without self-discipline, we become slaves to our impulses, desires, and fears. The Stoics advocated for daily reflection, reviewing one's actions each day to identify areas of improvement. Moderation, avoiding excess in pleasures and desires to prevent dependency. Consistent practice, building habits that reinforce resilience and mental clarity. Self-discipline allows us to gain control over our desires and emotions. Many people believe that acting on impulse is a form of freedom, but in reality, impulsive behavior often leads to dependency and regret. A disciplined person, on the other hand, is not easily swayed by fleeting desires or irrational fears. Challenges to inner freedom. In the modern world today, we face unique challenges that threaten our inner freedom, including social media and external comparisons. The digital age fosters constant comparison, making it difficult to remain content within oneself. Consumerism and materialism. The pursuit of material wealth often overshadows the pursuit of personal growth. Fear of uncertainty. Modern life is unpredictable, but Stoicism teaches us to embrace uncertainty with acceptance and strength. How to apply Stoicism to everyday life. Start each day with reflection. Ask yourself, what can I control today? And focus only on those aspects. Detach from unnecessary worries. Let go of things beyond your control and redirect energy toward meaningful actions. Embrace simplicity. Reduce distractions and unnecessary desires to gain mental clarity. Cultivate gratitude. Appreciating what you have, rather than longing for what you lack, fosters inner peace. Conclusion. Inner freedom is a state of mind that requires continuous effort and self-discipline. Through the Stoic principles of control, detachment, resilience, and rationality, we can free ourselves from the chains of external circumstances and achieve true autonomy. In a world full of chaos and distractions, mastering our own minds remains the ultimate path to freedom. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "You have within you the power to rise above any situation or struggle and transform it into the greatest version of yourself."